Welcome, everyone. I'm here with JB, Matt, Jaap, and Mark. Today, we're going to talk about what makes venture studios great, whether we compare it to other types of running companies or accelerators, incubators, or whatever. Each one of us is going to kind of take our own take. Matthew, do you want to kick us off?
Absolutely. So let's start with a really high level. A venture studio is a company that builds other companies. It does it by playing three core roles. It's the entrepreneur, founder, operator, and investor in all the companies that it builds. And it's really institutionalizing a co-founder role. So everything you would love to see in a fantastic, great co-founder. Deep experience, playbook access, has access to some of the best people in the space, customers, investors, team members you could hire, all embedded in one. And they bring a really good discipline as well to finding the right opportunities to build, giving you a little reality check if we should go build it or we need to, pivot or look at a different opportunity altogether. And that discipline and the support that they provide really de-risks building companies. I think we've all seen some of the stats around, entrepreneurial failure rates is really high because going down this journey is incredibly difficult. And having somebody alongside you that brings a ton of resources and experience and has been down this road is really, really invaluable.
Love it. And Mark, or what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I love how Matt said it. Just the institutionalization of the co-founder is the way we conceive of it, and I think it's going to be more dominant language moving forward. I think for me, it's about even the easiest part about a venture studio is being excited about the upside, and the second easiest thing about a venture studio is saying you're going to build one. I think the real hard part is figuring out how you focus, where you focus, what is the right mix of incentives, accountability, responsibility. So I still think this industry is young. I think there's some early fast movers, even the ones that are out there fast. We've been out there for a while. We've learned some things. Things that we thought 4 years ago are totally different today. So I think there's still a lot in this industry to evolve. That I always like to be on the early side of an industry. What I love is just the velocity you can create if you get it right. And have done 14 startups prior to the studio. Everyone was incredibly inefficient. I can look at how many different times we were looking for capital or trying to recruit somebody or just trying to do the boring legal stuff for finance and stuff. Like all that stuff doesn't translate to making customers happy, and therefore it doesn't translate into shareholder value. So if you get this model right, you can create a lot of velocity in the front end, and that's what gets me out of bed.
Love it. Love it. And I like to look at it from the perspective of you can grow a company and you have all kinds of risk in terms of attracting people to your team, attracting capital if you're on the investment route, etc. And there's a certain high failure rate with that. Then you can look at it from an incubator, how it might help you out of phase. You can look at an accelerator, how it might help you out of phase. You can look at it from the agency perspective, where you bring on a marketing agency or an engineering agency to kind of de-risk those elements and add some de-risk to your company and to your growth. You can look at it from a consulting, a McKinsey, a Deloitte. I do a lot of CEO consulting, 70 to 90 CEOs a week. But then you look at it from the venture studio, which has marketing and engineering and HR and accounting and all these things, and there's idea gating. It is a massive, massive de-risk. If you look at it from a country perspective, because we're building these globally, we're accelerating companies globally. You also look at it and say venture studios are actually something that crops up in a later stage economy. Initially, you start to build a company, and then you learn to do, and then you want to infuse capital, and VC markets start to emerge after that. And then after that, you say, well, we want to be more supportive of it as well. And so venture studio plus capital can be a way of looking at that as well, right? So it's a massive de-risk is venture studios, and it's also expert company builders is the way that I look at it. JB, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything that's been said in terms of the process rigor and how that really helps you de-risk. I think one of the big things for me in venture studio versus traditional venture is that you get to decouple the founder from the problem to be solved, or unmet need. In traditional venture, you kind of get the two together and you end up with these outcomes that cause failures where you have the right idea but the wrong founder, or the right founder but the wrong idea. So a lot of what the venture studio is able to do is match the talent, the right founder that has the right earned insight in a particular area with the problem to be solved. And I think that's where a lot of the success comes from, and a lot of the mitigation of the common failures is really that talent matching. And I think if I've learned anything from doing venture studio for for 5 years now, it's really that this is ultimately a talent game. You can have the best process in the world, but you still need the best founders in order to build the best companies. So that really is where we focus a lot of energy, is how do you source and screen founders. And we've ended up being incredibly fussy. In our last cohort in Fund 1, we had a 0.2% acceptance rate. So I think it's really critical to screen very effectively and make the right match.
Love that. Yeah. What do you think?
Well, the beauty about being lost is I think a lot of wise words have been said already. So I echo everything that has been said. I think an additional element to, especially to us, we're focused mostly on clinical health technologies. And I think that's a segment of the market that VC is generally moving away from, because timelines are super long, and also especially the early stage investments, they don't really fit in a traditional 220 fee structure that a VC has, because it's you need to diversify across a big portfolio, and you cannot manage that with small investments in medtech. So we see all early stage medtech, biotech funds moving to either later stage or discontinuing. And I think the economics of a venture studio allow to address that segment in the market, and to focus on the really highly regulated technologies that can offer great financial returns, also have a very strong impact on society. And I think the additionality of a venture studio is the highest, right? So I think it's a very attractive vehicle to institutionalize and address a certain part of the market that's currently not accessible for larger capital.
Awesome. I love it. And the last thing I'll say is I think it's really important for people out there to separate the differences between the theory of a venture studio and the application of it, because there's a million different types of ways that you can apply it, how you bring on that top talent, how you structure equity, what products and services are in there, what industries are in there, all of that. We write functions for a company, 4 billion variable functions that optimizes everything from sales calls to meetings to products and services to margins, etc. And so a lot of and this is what me and Matt talk about on weekly calls, and I work with Mark a lot, and I just met JB and Jaap today. But there's just, I know we all know on this call that there's a lot of much deeper complexities, and I think a lot of the world can kind of pick up on a label, whether it's VC or venture studio or this or that, and it lumps a lot of things together. And a more sophisticated view is literally at a 4 billion variable kind of scale. So definitely dive into those details when you really want to analyze something and tweak with it. Thank you guys for chatting today.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks.